Did you ever get the royal treatment from a wait person, a retail associate, or a car dealer? Doesn't it feel great? And doesn't it make you want to do business with them again? Me too. Well, Jason Jakus knows that red carpet service is the name of the game in real estate, and he'll tell you why it's important right now.
From the studios of the Royal Palm Coast Realtor Association in Fort Myers, Florida, this episode is a short takes edition of the Royal Palmcast with your host, Jim Sanville.
Hello and welcome to the Royal Palmcast. I'm your host, Jim Sanville. We're going to give you a special short takes edition of the Royal Palmcast today. That's where we squeeze a lot of useful information into a shorter than normal time frame. And we've got a guest today who is going to help us get the word out about some really important stuff. I'm here also with Jerry Johnson. Jerry, how are you today over on the board?
Good morning, Jim. I'm doing just fine today.
Are you? You getting hungry for lunch?
Yeah, we're getting there. You're getting there.
Did you bring your lunch today? You brown bag it?
I did brown bag it today.
Really?
Yep, it's leftovers.
Leftover? What did you have last night?
It was a taco salad from a local restaurant. It was very good, but too filling, couldn't finish it, so it's lunch today.
Yeah, I miss going out to restaurants as much as I used to because the leftovers are always pretty good. Mm-hmm. Pretty good.
True.
In the joints I went to anyway. And in any event, I want to welcome right away our guest. His name is Jason Jakus. He is Mr. Real Estate here in Southwest Florida, as far as I'm concerned anyway. This guy has done it all. He is an author. He's a national speaker. He's a business coach, a consultant. He owns and operates his own brokerage with lots of brokers and several offices in Southwest Florida. Next Home Advisors is the name of that. You may have seen Jason on TV as a featured expert on real estate. And he's a member of our board here as well. He hosts a couple of podcasts and does lots and lots of other things. He's a director of Florida Realtors. So here's a guy who knows a lot about real estate. Originally from Wisconsin, we're happy to have him in Southwest Florida. Jason, welcome.
Thanks, Jim. I appreciate that.
Great to have you. Let's jump right into it, Jason. Let's talk about customer service, red carpet customer service, that concierge level that everyone deserves but doesn't always get.
Yeah, I mean, I think, when I look at real estate, this is going to be somebody's biggest investment they'll ever make, if not the biggest. And we're in a service business, we're in a people business. And so I would say, the level of service can be between, and I use, retail as a kind of a benchmark, but, I want to be the Neiman Marcus or the Ritz-Carlton of service in my brokerage. And that's what I expect. Always exceeding the customer's expectations on what should be done. Customers should never know that there's a problem with a contract unless the contract's going so far south that they have to know. But there's people out there that's Chicken Little. Every little thing gets reported to the customer, and it just seems like they're just happy to get the keys because they never thought it would happen because there's so many issues. And I think, pilots fly across the country, and I've got friends that are pilots, and they say, they've hit some bad weather. They've hit some issues with turbulence, but besides a little bit of bumps, they don't realize in the section of the plane where people are sitting and paying for that how major it may have been, right? They don't panic people. And so I think red carpet service comes with the amount of communication we give the consumer. It comes with how we handle the actual transaction. And great customer service is, beyond calling somebody back. I mean, there's certain things that you can't have a credo or a motto that is the consumer's expectation. In other words, I always say to people, why would I use you as a realtor if I was going to buy a house? And I ask this question when I interview other realtors that come to my firm. And if they tell me, because I answer my phone, well, we were expected to do that. I know the marketplace. We're expected to do that, So tell me really, why would I use you? And I think that's where people can differentiate themselves in this industry is between solid red carpet service and then pretty much everybody else. And to your point, it is a concierge service. So what does that look like to the consumer? Well, how does a customer get to a title company? Most customers drive themselves. Very rarely do you have a car pick them up. And with Uber today, and it's different now in the current place we live, but a limo or an Uber driver taking them to the closing and taking them back home. I mean, that should be standard.
The old model was the realtor would pick you up in his Cadillac, right, or her Cadillac.
Yeah, and take him to the closing, take him back home.
Right.
But it's just that red carpet service, and it's the little things. And there's one of my old coaches, John Sheplack, who's been in real estate a long time, always says little hinges swing big doors, and I believe it's the little things that make it biggest impact. And an example of that is, what do we leave at the house after we do the walkthrough? So typically you do a walkthrough of a home with the buyers, and they leave, and you say, I'm going to lock up. I'll be back. I'll meet you guys at the title company, or if it's the day before, have a good day. Go back in there, go out in your trunk, and pull the bag of stuff that people need, right? The essentials, hand soap, sanitizer, toilet paper, paper towel. Leave that bag on the countertop. And it's the little things, again, that mean so much, because when they come in the next day, the last thing they thought about was toilet paper that morning. So it's that red carpet service, and it's the post-transaction service that matters even more.
Now, when you're working with the seller, do you sort of coach the seller as to, here's how you want to leave the house, not just broom clean, but maybe you want to leave a little gift or a note? So
when you're listing a house, so for me, the customer service to the seller and to the buyer is hiring a cleaning company. Why should the seller pay or take the time? Because time is more valuable than any other thing we have, really. Why would you have them leave it broom clean? I tell my sellers, just get up and leave. I got boxes there. Don't worry about it. I'm going to send a cleaning crew in that's going to clean this top to bottom before closing, and it's supreme. People walk in like, oh my God, they really went out of their way. They have no idea we did a cleaning service, right? But we did that. We did that for the seller. We also did it for the buyer. Buyer may not even be our buyer, but we did it because it's the right thing to do.
And you pick up the tab for that.
100%.
Yeah, that's nice. The last time I bought a house, I was kind of disappointed. Not so much in the real estate agent, the realtor, but because the house we were selling and it closed on, we loved it, and I bought a bottle of wine, wrote a nice note to the new owners saying, we hope you enjoy this as much as we did. Good luck to you, that sort of thing. And the house was spick and span, believe me. We go to our new house, next day or that same day, and the place was a mess. There were lots of possessions left behind. Oh, with a note, we'll pick these up next week from the seller. To me, the real estate agent should not have let that happen.
Right. So were you coached to leave that bottle of wine? And
No.
Okay. So
I'm a human being.
Did.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Coaching somebody to leave them something, and if they don't, some sellers just don't.
Yeah.
Do it for them. Right. That's the red carpet service. Those little things, those little hinges that swing those big doors. The memory of that is so important. One of the things people forget about when they sign their papers, they buy the house, or they sign their papers to sell the house, is that last picture or that first picture in front of that house. Who takes that? And what do you do with that? So you could take that picture and have it framed for them and deliver it a couple weeks later. It's a great reason to drop by and say hi. It's interesting because NAR every year National Association of Realtors does a survey, buyer and seller survey. And they said, it's like 90% or some outrageous number of consumers would use their real estate agent again in another transaction, but less than 25% do. So why is that? Well, because at the end of the transaction, they're gone. And there's very little follow-up from the agent to that consumer that bought or sold that house. So I always ask people, as an agent, what is your follow-up system after the close? So for me, if you bought a house from me and you and your wife went to the house and you guys opened the door up and went inside, I'm calling you 2 hours after closing. Why? Because I know you're in that house, right? I know you're in that house. And I'm going to say, hey, Jim, how's it going? What do you guys think? And the problem is, I don't care what the answer is because I'm going to solve it. And I just did this back in February. A couple moved down from North Carolina down here. And I went to closing. They closed on their thing. I called them in 2 hours, said, hey, how's everything going? Super excited for them. Their dream is to live in Florida. And their dream's coming true, and they both were police officers. And they said, the AC doesn't work, Jason. It's 96 degrees in here. So I said, I'll be right there. And on the way there, I called my AC person. I said, meet me there. I paid for that bill, got him in there, diagnosed the problem, got it fixed. But I showed up, and I also had the AC guy show up, and I rolled up, and 10 minutes later, AC guy's behind me, got it fixed for them. But my follow-up is 2 hours, 1 day, every 3 days, then every 3 weeks, and it goes to every 3 months until, they buy or sell again. right? Because I want to know how they're doing as a human being, because most of these end up into a relationship.
Yeah, when I was growing up, my father bought insurance from a sales guy who had that same approach. And believe me, that relationship was important to my father. I mean, there's a guy who sent me a kid, a birthday card, Christmas card, the whole thing. Things you don't see as much anymore. But I still remember him.
Well, and you don't see that, but that's part of that red carpet service, right? So on the anniversary date of that actual home being purchased or sold, they get an anniversary card. On their birthdays, they get a birthday card. I think Facebook has taken over for Hallmark what birthday cards used to be. Everybody does a happy birthday on their, I got 97 posts on my birthday, whatever.
Yeah, it's a different world.
Right. But how many cards did you get for your last birthday?
Wow. One, I think.
I got 2.
Yeah.
Okay, I got 2.
How good
I know
it
I gave you one, Jim.
My parents,
That's the one.
my parents, and my company corporate office were the 2 I got, right? So most people aren't getting a dozen cards anymore. So if you sent them a card as the agent on that transaction every year, so what? And they've got companies out there, technology companies called Send Out Cards. They'll do them for you. Send them your list every year, and they'll send them out for you.
Wow. And you really make an impression, to your point.
Absolutely. But that's the red carpet service, right? Picking them up at the airport, getting their hotel, finding out what they like to do. And my favorite story is a couple that retired after working. He worked in a steel mill his entire life, saved all his money, and bought a $200,000 condo. And she was a hairdresser. And they both retired. They were together for 30-some plus years. And by talking to them on the phone, finding out what made him tick as a person. And her thing was, it's been 3 years since I had a spa day. So when they checked in the hotel, I had at check-in a packet for both of them to both have a spa day. And to this day, 9 years later, they're around the pool at the condo they live in talking about the spa day that the realtor got them.
Wow.
Because it made that much of an impression. It cost me a couple $100.
Wow.
And they were buying a $200,000 condo. But it doesn't matter. It's that red carpet service to them that makes the experience different, right? And that's what people enjoy. Anybody can go out and buy a house, anybody can turn a door and open it with a Supra, but what's the experience you're giving that consumer?
Plus, I'm going to go out on a limb here, Jason, and guess that these folks recommended you to others.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and that's a good byproduct of why we do it, right? It's a great byproduct. But you do it because it's the right thing to do. It's their biggest purchase that they're ever going to make. And it's the shelter that they raised their family in. And, it's the place that they're going to hang out with their neighbors and be quarantined. And, it's a big deal. And we need, as realtors, as brokers, we need to treat it as the biggest deal that, for them as ever.
Now, Jason, in the last minute or two we have left, I wonder if you could distill for me in 2, 3, 4 points, whatever it takes, your customer service philosophy. What are the 3 or so most important things that realtors can do to provide concierge-level service?
Yep. So here's my thing. I tell everybody this. I get a lot of realtor-to-realtor referrals down. In fact, I got one this afternoon. And I always tell the person that contacts me, I'm going to treat your customer better than family. And it's not that I don't treat my family well. I treat my family like gold. I love family. Family's so important to me. But I'm going to treat them better than family. And I did sell my uncle and aunt a house down here, and I've dealt with family members down here selling houses. But I'm going to treat them better than family, because you can close your eyes and picture that, right? If you just talk about I'm going to provide great customer service, that means different things to you, or to you it's different. But if I tell you I'm going to treat them better than family, you can envision what that looks like. I'm always going to follow the code of ethics and be transparent with them. And part of being treating them better than family is, for first-time home buyers, if it's not a good deal for them, just like if it wasn't a good deal for my daughter, I wouldn't let my daughter buy the house. I'm not going to let them buy the house, right? That's part of being that family. I'm going to tell them, I'm going to be very direct with you. If I don't think it's a good deal for you, and a great example of that's first-time home buyers had Irma roof issues in the house they looked at. I said, absolutely not, you're not buying this. But we love the house. I don't care. You've got a roof that needs to be replaced before you can get insurance on it. I wouldn't let my daughter buy it. I'm not letting you guys buy it. And they thank me so much. We got them into a condo that they love more. It doesn't have any issues. And they're super happy I made that decision kind of for them, right? So that's the second thing is honesty, transparency, and always following the code of ethics. And third is be super gracious and appreciative of every customer you have. And that's before, during, and after the sale. I still talk to people. There's a video out there I put out there. I made 1,000 phone calls March and April, just checking in on people that I knew that were in my database, my CRM. And I repeated that again in May and June. And people say, well, you're laid up and it was quarantine, whatever. But I called 1,000 people twice.
Wow.
And just to check in to see how they were doing, because I care.
That's great. That's great. Jason, I can't tell you how much I appreciate your making some time to come in and talk with us today about red carpet customer service. Now, Jason, and your last name, as you well know, is spelled Jakus. How can folks reach you if they want to follow up?
They can follow me on Instagram at Jason_Jakus. They can find me on Facebook. They can contact me on email at jason@yournexthomeadvisors.com.
That's great. That's great. All right. That marks the end of our program, as indicated by the music that's playing now in the background. I want to thank Jerry Johnson for running our board today and doing all the hard, heavy lifting regarding our podcast. Jerry, thank you so much.
Always welcome.
All right. And I also want to thank Beata Jones, our CEO here at the Royal Palm Coast Realtor Association, for her support and encouragement, as well as the rest of the staff. Everyone here is great. We love working here. Jerry and I really look forward to coming to work every day. I think I can speak for him on that.
I concur.
All right. All right. Again, I'm Jim Sanville, your host, and we thank you, the listener, for tuning in today on your podcast, tuning, downloading, whatever the word is these days. We really appreciate it. Glad you could be with us, and we hope you subscribe, give us a 5-star rating, and share the show with a friend. We appreciate it. Don't miss our other podcast hosted by Nick B. Jealous. That is called Realtor Riff Rap. And we also have a YouTube show that's hosted by Nick and Joanna Rowell, with Susan Milner doing the market report every month. You can find that on YouTube, as I said, and so we look forward to seeing you there as well. Thanks very much for listening. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to this short text edition of the Royal Palmcast. For the most current information and updates, stay tuned to our Facebook page and other social media. For our association members, make sure to also look for your Member Weekly newsletter in your email. Sponsorship opportunities now available for this and other RPCRA programming. For more information, email to sponsorships@rpcra.org. Stay connected with RPCRA and stay tuned. This has been a production of the Royal Palm Coast Realtor Association.